Hello. Today I thought I'd pick an American lock. Here we have three locks in front of us. We have the regular American A1100. We have a Masterlock lockout tagout 410 padlock. And then in the middle we have a combination of the two. We have the American lock S1100. So this is just like an American A1100 body. On the back it's just marked series 1100 there. And unlike a regular A1100, it's got the Masterlock lockout tagout restricted core in it. So it's got a 6-pin core with the restricted keyway Masterlock key. It's full of spools. It has a dead core, and it's set up to be key retaining. So, as far as I can tell, this is an official offering from Masterlock, and I think it's a product of the fact that Masterlock actually owns American Lock. So they've taken the American Lock 1100 series and put the Masterlock lockout tagout core in it and offered that as a different lockout tagout safety padlock. So unlike the 410, this one can be disassembled. So I'm gonna chalk it up in the vise. Let's get it picked and disassemble it afterwards. Alright, we have it mounted up in the vise here. Still working as it should. I'll be using on top of the keyway tension wrench and a DeForest diamond here. DeForest diamond in 15 thousandths. Alright, so let's go in. One feels a little loose. Two feels like it was binding up a little bit. Okay. Now it's in a little loose. Going to the back of the lock here on pin 6. Okay, pin 5. Got a little movement after pin 5 is set. A couple clicks. Pin 4, little counter rotation, a little bit of movement. Going to the front of the lock. Pin 1. Okay. Pin 2. Feels like pin 4 again. Five and 6 seem good. 1 seems fine. That's 2. All right. 2 seems all right now. 3, 4. Now we're on 5. All right, we have an open. Okay. Get the vise out of the way. And we'll get a pinion tray here. First, let's take out the screw. Alright, so comes apart just like an American lock here. We have our 6-pin core. Let's get that spring clip off the back here. Might as well lock it up. Okay, grab a follower. All right, pin 1, just a standard, pin 2, standard, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, all standard key pins. All right, now let's go up top. So we got a spool driver in 1 and 2. This will be no surprise, spool drivers all the way throughout with 1 serrated is what we're expecting. Here's our lightly serrated key pin, or driver pin rather, in 5. And then in chamber 6, we have our last spool pin. So, nothing too surprising here. Standard lockout, tag out core. Come in for a little bit of a close-up here. Get that in focus. Alright, so all standard key pins and 5 spools and 1 lightly serrated driver pin. So that's all I have for this American S1100 padlock. Cheers! Just as a quick follow-up, I thought I'd show a couple differences between the setup for the S1100 and a regular American lock key retaining setup. So one of the first differences I noticed was there's a slight difference in the size of the opening for the retaining plate on the bottom. This is the S1100 and this is off of this key retaining American 1300. The next difference is in the back of the cores. So here's our Masterlock lockout tagout core, and here's our American lock. So we can see that the tail piece of the American lock is vertical, the tail piece for the Masterlock is horizontal. So what that means is if we compare these two locks, they're both in the locked position, but the tail pieces are at different orientations, or the actuators rather are at different orientations to correspond with those tail pieces. Another thing to note is because these are both key retaining actuators, there is no spring in there to return the actuator to its locked position. So because of the lack of the spring, both of these actuators can spin 360 degrees, so that means that the cores can spin 360 degrees as well. So we can stick this core in, and I'll hold it upside down to, or the Bible pointing downwards to make sure that we keep all the key pins inside. But I've opened it, now I can close it back up, and I can keep on spinning the core around. Now the lock will open slightly. The shackle won't come all the way out, but it will go into, the ball bearings will be pushed into the grooves on the actuator, and when it's opposite the open position, due to asymmetry in the grooves in the actuator, the lock won't fully open in this position, but the ball bearings will be pushed in a little bit, trapping the core in place. You can push the shackle down a little bit and then keep on rotating back to the typical locked position. The exact same thing will happen with the American lock standard key retaining setup. Alright, that's all I had for you. Cheers.